Hey, what up, crazy crew? Welcome back. KC2Crazy here. Before I get into the Sabo deck, I wanted to do a shout out for Jansuko. This is a guy that when OPO5 first came out, I was practicing with the Enel deck in the sim, and I came up against him and he was playing Sabo, and we were, chatting back and forth, but he was doing really well with Sabo, introduced me to him. He had different kinds of methods of how to use that deck. The deck I'm using is different than what he played against me with, but he's the one that got me into it. It was really fun playing against him. If you have any spare time, you want to check out his channel, and if you could subscribe or say what's up, just say KC2Crazy sent you. Yeah, definitely check him out. All right, let's start out with this Sabo deck. He's multicolored, so he's red and black. So if you see in the lower left-hand corner of his card, on the color wheel, it's indicating what color cards you can use with him. He's 5,000 power. He has 4 lives. His ability is if you have one Dawn attached to him, he can save any character on the board that is 5,000 power or more that would be KO'd. You may instead give this character power minus 1,000 for the turn. So as an example, let's say you have Karasu out there, and Karasu's turned sideways because you just swung with him, and the opponent's swinging at him trying to take him out. If you have one Dawn attached to Sabo and they hit Karasu and they're able to, go for the KO, you would not be discarded to your trash if you use Sabo's ability. He would just be minus 1,000 power, so then he would be down to 4,000. It is especially good with characters that have higher power, but even with Karasu, instead of being gone, you have the possibility of saving him for the following turn. So then he goes on to 4,000, and if you have like a 2k counter or something like Virgo and they swing for 5, you can still block it. Really cool ability. This leader is slept on. A lot of people don't use him, but he's good. He's definitely good. Okay, Zoro. We're going to run 4 Zoros, and this is a rush card, which in my last video with Enel, I talked about rush. You can use it on the turn in which you play it. So that is something with red. Red is a really aggressive color. This is just the style of the deck, typically what you would play. I like him because he's a 3-drop, 5k power. You can come out swinging. Okay, let's go over to Shanks. This is one of our bosses. He is a 9-drop, 10 power. He is rush, so you can attack when you play him. When you attack, your opponent cannot activate their blocker if they have a blocker with 2,000 or less power. A lot of people, when it comes to red, they have to watch out for this because some of the red cards can do this. Okay, next one, Karasu. This dude, basically when you play him onto your field, he's going to take away 1,000 power from one of your opponent's characters or their leader. And what that'll do is it'll make it a little bit easier for you to attack them. Now that's on play. When you are attacking with him, so the following turn, let's say you attack, if you attach to Dawn, you can also take away 1,000 power from a character or a leader. Now with this can be really good if, say, you're going against a leader that has like 6k power, like Red Purple Luffy or Whitebeard. There's a number of leaders. When you go against them, if you have Karasu, you bring them down to 5, so you kind of take them down a peg or two. So really good card there. Plus it's a 1k counter. We have Koala, so one of the most beautiful cards, I think, of OPO5. If you've pulled this card or you've seen it in person, it's just really bright and vibrant. Really cool card. I love it. She is a 2k counter. It's mainly what I would use her for, but she also can take away 3,000 power from a character when you play her on your board. So if you, say, have enough counters in hand and you're feeling like you're in a good spot, you can play her out, and then it can bring opposing characters down so that you can hopefully get them off the board. Nami. Now, there are different Nami cards, but I use this Nami from the first starter deck. With this, after you use a Dawn, you activate her ability, and you can do it every single turn, and you attach one Dawn to any character that you want or to Sabo. Now, typically, I use her to attach the Dawn to Sabo so that he then can protect any character on the board because he has one Dawn attached, and that enables his ability. But she is a very good card. Only costs 1 Dawn to player, 1k counter. What more can you ask for? Okay, this dude, this Luffy card is really good. This card you really need to understand if you want to win games with this deck. So this is a rush card, and you're talking about a 5-drop, 6 power card here. If you attach 2 Dawn to him, when you are attacking, your opponent cannot activate a blocker. Any blocker, doesn't matter. So if you're playing against Sakazuki, what have you, and say they have Borsellino out there, they have maybe Sabo, could be a Hina, you can bypass those and start chipping away at their life. So this is something that most opposing players do not want to see, because that's kind of taking away the whole purpose of their board. So this one, you need to understand it, is just remember to attach those 2 Dawn. So if you look at the card, underneath the word rush, it says Dawn times 2. So again, if you want to activate that ability to bypass a blocker, add those 2 Dawn. Really cool. Really strong too. All right, we have Sanji, and this is a 6-drop, 6k power, 1k counter. On play, if your opponent has a character with 5k power or more, this character gains rush during this turn. So he can come out swinging if your opponent has cards with high power. Gotta love Sanji. Okay, I'm bouncing down over here to the big boy, which is Monkey D. Luffy. So this one came out in starter deck 10. If you weren't able to get that, you could probably still find it for a fairly affordable price. This is a really good card. So he has rush, so he can come out swinging, and then if your opponent activates a blocker, you get to KO one of their characters that is 8,000 power or less. You know, he could take out 2 at a time. It's all dependent upon what happens when you play him. Really, really strong. Your opponent has a really hard time dealing with him and getting him off the board. That's mainly why I like him more than the Shanks card. Okay, Hina. I love this card. They're affordable. They're very low cost. So if you want to get these, if you play at locals, if you don't have them yet, I would highly recommend picking them up. They're from Paramount War OPO2. But this one is a 5-drop, 6k power, 1k counter. She is a blocker. When she blocks, you get to choose one of your opponent's characters if they have a cost of 6 or less, and you make it so they cannot attack that turn. This surprises a lot of opponents. And the other thing I love doing with this card is I will block with her, make it so another one of the opponent's cards can't attack, and then I save her with Sabo. So either you use a little bit, you know, a small counter to save her, or you use Sabo's ability and she's good to go. It's amazing. Really good card. Just a side note here, it just started raining like crazy outside, so that might affect the audio. Okay, Borsellino, really expensive card. What, he's like 40-50 bucks now. He's just keeps going up. On your opponent's turn, he has plus 1,000 power, so he is a 4-drop, 5k power, but on your opponent's turn, he has 6k power, so when they swing at him, they got to swing for 6 or more. He is a blocker. He cannot be taken out by effect, so really, really cool. I would just really highly recommend running him. I used to run 4 of him and 4 of Hina, and no Sabo. And then I started running Sabo, took down some Borsellino. Okay, Virgo. Virgo is a 5-drop, 5k power. He does have a cool Dawn times 1 ability where he can't be killed in battle, but 2k counter. If you have nothing else to play, you could always put him on the board. I just typically have something else to play. And I wanted an option for a 2k counter that was a little bit stronger, so that's why I went with him. Sabo. This Sabo protects your board when you play him. So he's another blocker, 5-drop, 6k power, 1k counter. When you play him, no other characters on your board can be taken out by effects. And when you play him, he's also a draw card. So you draw 2, trash 2. Really, really cool card. And again, I said I've messed around with running 4. I bounce between him, Borsellino, and Hina, but I keep finding myself going back to running 4 Hina. Okay, we have Bartolomeo. This card, 2k counter. He's a blocker, 3-drop, 3k power. Typically, I will either use him as a 2k counter, or if I have nothing else to play, I can put him on the board. Really good blocker counter. What more can you ask for? We're getting to the events. A Rad Beam will save you a lot of games if you leave a Dawn standing so you can counter with it. You can't use this on a match when it's your turn. If you see it says counter and trigger, so if you take it as a trigger, typically you're not going to use it as a trigger because it only gives 1k power to your leader or a character, unless there's a weird circumstance where you would use that. With counter, you can counter up to 4k power, so you add 4k power to whatever character you want to on your board, so it can help like block attacks, decks, what have you, can help save you games in that sense. That's why it was restricted to 1, because it's so strong. And now you can use 4, so why not run 4? With this, if you have 2 or less life cards, it goes up to a 4k power that you add to your character or your leader. If you have more than 2 life cards, it's only a 2k. Really good card. You know, 1 Dawn, you leave standing, and also people, when you play against them, they'll bluff and sometimes leave Dawn standing to make you think they have Rad Beam or some other kind of event card. So you could do that too if you want to gamble and hope that someone's not going to hit you or attack you. Gum Gum Jet Pistol, our final card here. There are different events to run, but this is what I've found currently what I like to use. So with this one, with the main, you can use 4 Dawn and use this on your turn. So it's not a counter, but it is a trigger. And if you use 4 Dawn, you can KO one of your opponent's characters that has 6k power or less. And as a trigger, it just activates main, which means, let's say it's your opponent's turn, they hit you, you take a life card, boom, you get this trigger, you now can choose from their board and pop one of their 6k power or less characters, send it to the trash. Really, really good card, especially if you're playing against decks that have a really strong, you know, start when they're playing in the early game. Super good. All right, Sabo, I'm going to start playing and we shall see how it goes. So I'm recording the audio after playing and ended up matching up against Tsunami. And her whole objective is to get rid of as many cards as possible into her trash. That's how she wins. So when you play against her, you want to have typically a rush deck. I've only played against her a few times. Really cool deck. But thankfully I have rush cards. She runs a ton of events. And I played the Nami so I could attach cards to Sabo or to any of the other cards if I played them. I want to play Zoro just so I can start hitting for life. I'll swing 6 and 6, attaching a Dawn to Sabo so I can protect Zoro if she decides. If Nami decides to attack him. And they countered out. That's the other thing, they run a lot of counters, so they can do that when you swing for life. But they've played, what, 2 Kais so far? And just throwing events in the trash. Using events. Mr. Juan Daz Bonez. Mr. Juan. Okay, swing it on Zoro with 6. And I will just use Sabo's ability. So he goes minus 1,000. Now he's 4,000 power. And they can't really swing with anything else. I wasn't pulling as many rush cards as I wanted, but I want to end up protecting Zoro. That's why I put Borsalino out there. Swing for 7 and then attach it on to Sabo so you protect Zoro. And if you want to block with Borsalino, because when they're attacking... Oh, and yeah, I forgot, they got rid of my Nami. So that's a good lesson. Should have attached the Dawn to Sabo before swinging with Zoro. I just didn't think of that. So I'll just swing 5 and 5, and they took it. Now you got to be careful. I'm going to have to use counters for Zoro and be careful with Borsalino. A lot of people will swing like with 5k when they see a Borsalino and they don't know it's a 6k the opponent's turn. So that's one thing that can happen. You can see they're already at 31 and I'm at 39 cards in the deck. They do play a lot of like super low cost characters. I mean, you see these are all 1-drops. Very few big characters that can attack you. So they're swinging at Sabo. 6. Just use the Virgo 2k counter. Thankfully pulled another rush card. I want to toss him out there. Here to attach a Dawn to Sabo. and Zoro. Oh, so I swung 7 with Zoro, and could swing 6 or 7 again. Let's do 6, and then 7 with the other Zoro. And they took it. Another Kaya. The whole board's just Kayas and Mr. Ones. Already got 17 in their trash. Pretty nuts. 16. Keep cycling Usopp's Rubber Band of Doom. So your leader gets 2,000 power during the battle, and you get to trash a card from your deck. So, like I was saying, their objective is to trash cards really fast, so well, they keep cycling that. Gotta love Usopp. And I'm just waiting to see what they do. And just block with Borsellino. Exactly what I was saying earlier. They probably pass the turn because they have events that they're hoping to counter with, was my guess. Thankfully, I have 2 Shanks in my hand, so more big rush cards. I'm already up there and done. Now they're probably just doing the math, wondering if they can use the events, the counters really fast. I don't know how many they would have that they could use on main. Probably expecting to be attacked a lot. Really want to build a Nami deck. Oh, so they use Scent. Use Deathwink and send Zoro to the trash. Interesting. I'm not that familiar with Deathwink. But swung 7. Another Kaya. Oh, so they do have a bigger body. Well, for this deck. 5 drop, 6 power. And what does he do? You can trash 2 cards from the top of your deck if he damages the opponent, or when they deal damage. So now I'm just gonna wait with the Zoro in hand. And with that Zoro, attach 1, swing 6, then swing 5 with the other Zoro. But it works out. And drop the other Shanks. Oh, so I did it out of order. Drop that Shanks and then one with this. And might as well just try to throw a Hail Mary and hope that it sticks. And it did not. They countered out, of course. They have 9 cards left in their deck. So 1 more turn for them. If I don't, and then hopefully for me. Well, yeah, it should be for me. And if I can't close it next turn, they're gonna win. They could also win this turn. And I know I'm speaking in past and present tense, so I just don't really want to reveal what happens. Have some suspense. Ooh, Zephyr 11. Yeah, no way I could counter out of that. Maybe if I left a Dawn and then... I still couldn't have countered 11, 12. Oh, I think I could have. I don't know. So just throwing everything on one of the Shanks and sending it their way because they got 1 card left in their deck. 20k. Nothing they could do that I could think of. And that's gonna take it. GG's. What I like to do at the end of games, I don't know if I did in my other video, is if I like the deck, I will, look at their trash, their hand, what have you. So I'm just going to, if you're interested in playing the Nami deck, I'm going to click on the trash and just go through the cards a little slow so you can see them, count them if you want to. and build your own deck. But sounds pretty cool. I did read on Reddit a couple days ago, somebody took like a locals with Nami. I don't know if they went up against rush decks, but at my locals, it's hit or miss. Sometimes you'll go against like 2 decks that run rush, 1, or depending on how many people are there. It's all counters, events. There's a main one. Main. Let me know in the comments if you think I should build a Nami deck. See if we can win. That'd be kind of cool. There you go. 1 left. I got lucky. 35. So you see how fast she just consumes those cards. But thanks for joining me once again. KC2Crazy here. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you have any friends, family that like One Piece, please introduce them to the channel as well. And hopefully they could get subscribed. But I hope you're all doing well and have good luck at your locals. Take care, everybody. Peace.